Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, my babies. How are you? You doing well? Did you have a good night's rest? Yes? You ready to be milked? Yes? You be a good girl for me? You be a good girl? You be a good girl like you are for daddy? Yeah. Yeah. What about you, fancy girl? Huh? What about you, fancy? Goat kisses or goat burps? Huh? You burping at me? Silly goat. Oh, I turned the camera off. Never mind. What are you doing? Pansy, you love mama, don't you? You love your mama. She loves me. I swear she does. Have you ever seen that before? I mean, I've seen ladybugs on top of each other doing ladybug things, but I've never seen them shake like that. That was the coolest thing. I had a really hard time getting my camera to focus on it, but I was bound and determined I had to share that with you guys. I hope that you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. So, we often get a lot of questions about our homestead and the area that it covers and what all entails as far as the property and such. Now, just as a reminder for those of you that don't know, we do not own this homestead. It is rented from a friend, and she is saving it for her granddaughter. So someday we very well may have to move off of this property and somewhere new, which would be a very daunting task to say the least, because we have definitely put our roots down here. But our hope is that there's a possibility someday that maybe the granddaughter will want to sell to us instead of the landlord selling to us. So we keep our hopes alive and we keep our dreams. So I'm gonna start this tour of the homestead at the very far corner on this side of the pasture. Right there is the road. The property line is somewhere on the other side of those trees. There is a barbed wire, I don't know if you can see it, that runs all the way down this edge of the property. And I don't know where the exact property post is, but I thought I saw one up there in that big, where that big cedar is. So I think that's about where the corner is. And of course the fence is on this side of the property. So looking down this way, the property line goes straight back. So the property line travels straight back up into the woods. There's a hill that runs along this ridge right here. But right here, before you get to that hill, there is a natural spring that forms a little creek that runs behind here and then becomes the pond. On the other side of the barn is where the pond opens up. So all this pasture, all the way to the house, is just that. It's just a big section of pasture. I think I calculated it once, and if you include the round pen and all of this, it's about 3 acres over here. Actually, it might be more than that. I would need to do that calculation again. There's an app called Farm Logs that we downloaded, and when you draw a perimeter around a certain area on your property, it tells you how many acres it is. So it's good for tracking, like if you do big production like corn or soy, you can keep track of your acreage and how much rainfall it gets and everything. It's a pretty cool app. So we consider all this pasture for the goats and the chickens, including the round pen for the bucks and the ducks and turkeys. Well, it will be turkeys someday. We'll get some more. And the barn itself, we consider that to be our zone 2 in the permaculture design of this property. Then just outside the barn, only slightly closer to the house, so not quite zone 1, we have our large production vegetable garden. Originally, my goal was that I was going to become a market gardener and sell at the farmers markets. I've realized with my health issues and other complications along the way that it's just going to be better for me to try to grow as much as we can for our own family. And that's the goal I'm going to focus on for now. So up around the house, we have what we consider zone 1. So we have the kids' play set. We have our ornamental flower garden for butterflies, which we are also going to plant food on the other side of the fence. We've got the blueberry bushes set out over there. We're going to plant those and probably some other fruit-bearing bushes in the long run. So this is where we have our cookouts or our campfires and such. We have the fallen down garage shed back there that we store a lot of the kids' play stuff in. And then as you go further back behind the house, there's the old homestead. This was once a home where people lived. In fact, there's even a fireplace in there. Monarch, monarch butterfly, monarch butterfly, monarch butterfly, monarch butterfly. Oh my gosh, am I gonna get it on film this time? Can you guys see it yet? Oh, please land. Oh, I love you, monarch. Yay! Oh, don't go away. Stay, please, please, please stay. Please stay. Enjoy the beautiful nectar. Enjoy the beautiful nectar, please, 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 please. Oh, I want to take a picture of you so badly. Please, Mrs. or Mr. Monarch, stay. I was pulling my phone out to take a picture as it took off. They are too fast this year. They have not stopped and settled down on a nectar source. Okay, back to the tour. So we have the old homestead, and just back there you see is the pond. So over on this side of the house, we have our wall of kudzu to provide a little bit of privacy. We have some potted bushes. I don't know if you can see the pots. Anyway, they were bushes that we intended to plant, but they just got set along this line and forgotten about when we moved in here. And the kudzu grew over them, and we were like, okay, that works. That's the privacy feature we were looking for. Then over here was where we originally put our vegetable garden. We wanted it to be close to the house as possible to make it as easy for us to maintain as possible. But as you can see, kudzu has grown in. We had these pine chip barks dumped over here in the hopes that we could spread them out and improve this soil, but look at this. The creeping Charlie completely took over. You can kind of see where we had our raised beds or our mounded beds. When we first grew over here, it was really difficult because this big pine tree provides too much shade. So we made an effort, and it was definitely not a success story. We did get a little bit out of that garden, especially the first year when I was full of energy and vigor, and I really maintained it well. But we definitely didn't have the best soil over here, and when we realized that there was composted manure over in front of the barn, we were like, oh, well, this is where we should definitely put our vegetable garden. So we changed our location. Inside of here, believe it or not, there's still asparagus that we planted the first year we moved here. Strawberries too. Every once in a while I'll see a strawberry plant trailing out into the grass, but it's just so overtaken with weeds. And then there's kind of a big open space right here between the road, and it goes down to the kudzu barrier. That's the next property line. So in an ideal world, this would actually end up being another area to graze goats or even sheep. I'm thinking about getting another section of electric net fence and another charger and putting 2 sheep right over here. They could eat kudzu and grass all day long. So the next side of the property goes right here. This is like a drainage ditch, and there's occasionally water that flows. There's a culvert that comes out of the ground right there. So this can't be bush hogged. So all this area right here can't be bush hogged because of the wet area. It's like a drainage ditch, kind of a stream, I guess you would say, but it's not always running. And then this is my very, very sad, pathetic attempt at planting an orchard. The deer love this area. They have killed every tree we planted. Some of them have some green left to them, but the majority of them were a wasted effort, and it makes me very sad. So this fall, my goal is to dig any up that are still got any sign of life to them and move them to the vegetable garden area and create a true food forest. This little pear is just barely holding on, but you can see every time it puts out new growth, the deer eat it. They just chomp the leaves right off. So there was pear, apple. It was, you see how it's got so many tags on it? They were each a special type that had grafted different varieties on it. So this one has got different types of apples growing on it. Still got some life, so we might be able to save it. And then I think that one was a cherry, and then that one was a all different types of pit fruit. So it had peaches, plums, nectarines, and so forth. And then just past it, the smaller bush is a pomegranate that is still alive. And then back in that cluster, we had some blackberries that were thornless blackberries, but we couldn't tell the difference between them and the thorn blackberries at first when they were first planted. So we kind of marked off the whole area and said, don't mow. And then we have some tiny, sad blueberries. There's 2 of them. Thought there was a 3rd one. Maybe it got mowed over or died. And then the one success that we have for some reason, even though it's in full sun, is our pawpaw. Obviously the yellowing of the leaves, it's not enjoying this full sun location. The idea that I had was that we'd have a couple of pawpaw. So there was a 3rd one planting, but 2 of them made it. And that we would have other trees planted around it to shade them. And then these 3 clusters you see here are actually still holding on barely figs. This is all they've ever done before the deer see them and eat them down to the ground. So hoping to get a lot of these things moved to a better location with soil that's more fertile and holds moisture better. This, I didn't realize at the time how much of a slope this was, and it seemed like it was a gradual enough slope that it would be good drainage, but it ended up being too much drainage, and they really don't handle that much drainage very well. And I think I just found where my blueberry was. I think Ryan mowed it with the tractor. You see the mulch ring and this poor little stem that was alive still. Oh well, we need to get more blueberry anyway. And then all this area that we could be grazing more 4-legged animals if we wanted. The only problem is there's no way to get my goats to go from here all the way to the barn without having a funnel, and that requires fencing for funneling. And this would be a long way to shoo everybody. So I would like to do a small movable shelter that stays outside for sheep and leave the sheep out. And don't worry about bringing them in at night and hope that they don't get eaten by coyotes. We could probably try to put Khaleesi in with them and see how she does as protection. Over there, you can tell how long it's been since we've had a bonfire. That used to be our fire pit area that was very maintained and cleaned up well and has a rock ring around it. So it's a nice little place to sit and have a bonfire in the evening. And then as you come down this way, you see where we had our bee boxes before they absconded. Someday we're gonna get our bee boxes set back up again. See, more beautyberry. I've got them everywhere. But we really want to get this area cleaned up again. Get the bee boxes cleaned, put into storage, properly frozen to make sure there's no wax moth larvae left, and then run the tractor back through here and cut that stuff down, of course. And then you have the pond, and that's the dam. So the dam is pretty much like the property border. There is a fence down. Whoa, turtles are getting spooked by me coming around the corner. Cute turtles. Too bad I never get to video them because they're so spooky. So down in this lower end, there's another pond, but you can see, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a barbed wire fence right there that is close to what the property line would be. So the property line is on that side of the dam, and then there's a little creek, this creek that comes from the culvert, the drainage ditch, comes down and feeds into a bigger pond on that lower end, and that's not our property. So then if you go down this road, which is the dam, and get to the end, there's a small spillway with a creek. That's where the boys climbed over with their daddy in their video that I will post a link to here or here. And that's when they did their adventure in the woods and found all kinds of cool stuff. So all back there are two big open sections of pasture back there. Pasture that needs to be bush hogged, but it's pasture. And then there's this huge strip that goes between the pond and the pasture right here that's more of a hill, and it is all natural area, and it's full of lady slipper orchids. So it's really cool to walk in there and discover new things. That back property is actually the larger bulk of the 14 acres. There's more back there not being used than there is up here being used. So the potential here is so amazing. But again, it isn't ours. So we do keep our dreams alive, that we will be blessed with the opportunity to purchase our home, because we do really consider this our home. And we hope to never have to leave. But if we did, then I know that it would be for something even better. I just have to believe that. But we have these grand visions of getting access to that back area by building a bridge over the spillway and building a home back there on the back of the property. The other side of the back of the property is nothing but natural area. It's a big hay field, and then there's another farm, and then it's like all, there's no houses at all. There's no roads, and it's really quiet and serene back there. So we'd like to build our dream cabin back there, and then we can have this house as a bed and breakfast, or for our interns or something to that nature. We can dream, right? We do love teaching people, and we do want to have workshops and interns and all that stuff someday. It's just, sometimes these things are pipe dreams, and they may or may not come to fruition, but we can still dream them. Keep the dream alive, guys. Keep it alive. So that's basically a full homestead tour. We do have the back property that I didn't show you, but you can check it out in Ryan's video with the boys that I just did last week. So it's a really great video he did, and you get to see a little bit of the pasture that needs to be bush hogged and a lot of the woods that they explored in. So make sure you check that out. Well, as you can tell, I got a lot done in those 4 hours the other day. So yesterday I actually took off from the 10-minute garden challenge to give myself a rest. Today I'm hoping to get back out here this evening and sow some root vegetables. I plan on creating a really great video all about root vegetables for you guys to enjoy, so be on the lookout for that. But for now, it's time to stop my dreaming and head back in and fix lunch for my boys and get some more homeschooling done this afternoon. But I appreciate you guys dreaming with me. If you have any suggestions for ways that we can improve our videos or more video ideas, leave them in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, share, and check out our Facebook page and group and our Instagram account, as well as Twitter and Pinterest and all those that we don't really do a lot on. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time on Wholesome Roots.